What's causing a narrator's obsessive thinking about a bug? I discuss this and more on today's episode. Welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I have found in my travels. Today it is Short Story Tuesday, and I have a bit of an unusual short story for you, both in size of the story and also content of the story. Today's short story is all about a bug. I am referring to The Caterpillar by Lydia Davis, which was published in 2007 in her short story collection, Varieties of Disturbance. The cover is very interesting because it has a fly on it, which is referenced in one of the short stories. But for those who don't know, Lydia Davis is a white American writer who has been getting her work published since the 1970s, which is pretty amazing. She primarily writes short stories, but she's also written for anthologies and general essays, and I think at least one book, at least that I'm aware of, which is interesting that she mostly just publishes short stories. But another interesting element is that she's most known for writing flash fiction. People have said she hasn't she didn't invent the genre, but she has strongly contributed to it in a way that's very notable for her as a writer. And you see a lot of that in this short story collection. Sometimes short stories with one or two sentences, maybe like one page of writing that still manages to get at some underlying feeling or event that's happening in a character's life, or maybe just expanding or thinking about the way of the world or something like that. And yeah, I've kind of encountered that before with other writers, but she uses it quite a bit, and apparently she's that's present in her other short story collections as well. I'd like to check out those short story collections if I were to get a chance, and also read maybe her one novel that she's written, because she does seem like a compelling writer here. But without further ado, let's talk about The Caterpillar. I will do a summary, a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. So The Caterpillar focuses on an unnamed narrator who finds a caterpillar in their house upstairs. They're doing some work upstairs. They encounter the caterpillar, and because they have a peaceful nature and don't believe in killing animals of any size, they decide that they want to take it outside. They can't just throw it out the window or anything like that. But as they're walking down the stairs, they're holding it, and finally they look at their hands and they see that the caterpillar is no longer there. They think that they lost it on the stairs. They do a bit of a search, pretty long search actually, where they can't seem to find the caterpillar even if they use a flashlight. So they seem to have lost this bug, and they're hoping that they don't step on it as they're walking up and down the stairs. And they do find themselves thinking more and more about this caterpillar every time they go to the stairs. And then one day they find an unpleasant smell as they're walking to the stairs. They call it an unpleasant animal smell specifically, which is weird because the narrator notes that the bug is too small to be making that kind of smell. So it might be psychological or something like that. And as the story comes to a close, the narrator specifically notes that the caterpillar is too small for them to be thinking about at this kind of frequency. In terms of analysis, there is quite a bit worth talking about with the caterpillar, even though it is just 2 pages. There's still some substance there. One of the themes that Davis talks about here is obsessive thinking. The narrator can't stop thinking about this lost caterpillar, and it's for a number of reasons. It has to do with their peaceful nature. They don't want to hurt a bug, and so they're initially thinking about it to get it out of the house, but they're also thinking about it because they don't want to and once they lose it, they don't want to step on it as they go up and down the stairs. And even if the bug is no longer on the stairs, they're worried that the caterpillar would have to find the door to get out of the house and wouldn't be able, or would like starve inside the house on their own, which might not happen, but that's certainly what the narrator thinks here. But I do think there's another reason for this obsessive thinking, and that is there is a need for order on the part of the narrator's part. The way they're talking, it seems like they have a view of the world that requires certain order. I'm very familiar with this feeling. In this way of thinking, like humans are in the house, pets are in the house, caterpillars are outside of the house, they belong there. And so because they weren't able to get that caterpillar outside the house, maybe something's wrong in the way they view the world, in their order of the world. That's certainly happened to me before. Every time I see a spider, I'm like, you actually belong outside. Go there. Don't stay in my apartment or anything like that. And I can understand that sort of obsessive thinking about even the tiniest disruption in the way that you view the world, your expectations for the world. And because they're not able to accomplish what they want, like those stairs become a place to think about the caterpillar. This is where something that was even tiny and insignificant, like this is where I was inconvenienced in that sort of way. And that's all the stairs are going to become to the narrator. And it's unfortunate, but I think what Davis is getting at here is that even small things can overwhelm us. We tend to think that large, significant things like the death of a loved one, a lost job, a car accident or something like that, that those are going to be the things that overwhelm us. And that's probably true. But not only in this short story, but in many of the short story collections, Davis is getting at the fact that small things that seem like minor inconveniences can still have a profound effect on you and how you see the world, and make you uncomfortable and make you obsessively think about those things and just generally not have a good time. So Davis does a lot of good work there. And kind of related to that, Davis also talks about what I'm terming significant insignificance. The narrator thinks the caterpillar is meaningless, it's small, it shouldn't have this effect on them. If they were able to take it outside, they wouldn't be thinking about it anymore. It's just a bug, and in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not going to affect their lives very much in a physical way. However, as we come to find out, they do find themselves thinking more about it, and it just upsets them in that way. Allow me to read you an interesting quote about this. Later, there is an unpleasant animal smell lingering about the stairwell, but it can't be him. He is too small to have any smell. He has probably died by now. He is simply too small, really, for me to go on thinking about him. And that's sort of an analytical way of viewing the world. Again, something I'm very familiar with. But the caterpillar is so small, they shouldn't be it shouldn't be occupying your thoughts for this amount of time. They have those constant thoughts. They have that guilt that maybe they were somewhat responsible for the death of this caterpillar, and because they have that peaceful nature, it's upsetting them. And perhaps even the smell is psychological. Even though they can smell something, it's probably not there. It's more to do with the fact that they associate those stairs with the lost caterpillar, and so they assume the caterpillar died, and that's what's producing the smell. It's like, oh no, a bad thing happened here, and now my brain is reminding me of this in any sort of way with my senses every time I go near this area. It wouldn't be unheard of for this person to just kind of become unhappy with the home because of that. Maybe the smell will follow all around the house at this point, and eventually they'll probably sell the house, and the other person who moves in won't smell anything because, again, this is psychological. It's mostly happening inside the narrator's head. But another good question to ask is, what else is going wrong in the narrator's life? Because, again, small things can overwhelm us, but that's not the case for a lot of us. If we encounter a caterpillar, if we lose it, we'll probably go on to forget about it. So something else must be happening in this narrator's life, and they must be turning to the caterpillar to sort of better understand the way of the world. It might be like a series of inconveniences happening to them, or they might just be turning to the caterpillar to forget about this larger inconvenience that's kind of making their life feel a little bit sour. So, you know, I feel like that's happening in a bunch of other short stories in this collection. So, you know, the like one disturbance, a variety of a disturbance, is affecting, yeah, like everything else that's going on in this narrator's life now. Like something behind the scenes is making them obsessively fixate on this caterpillar, and now they can't think of anything else, and it's slowly unwinding their life. And I can see why, you know, people would be unhappy in those cases. So I do have to give Davis, you know, credit for the creating this sort of significant insignificance, where something that we think wouldn't be that grand has taken on a much larger role in our life. The last thing I'll note is that this is an effective use of flash fiction, which we often see on the internet. You know, people creating 2-sentence horror stories on Reddit or in other locations of other genres. And it can come off as a bit hack at times because, you know, you don't reveal a lot in those short stories, and it feels more like an idea than anything else. But here, like Davis is revealing a lot about characters, a lot about the events in their life, and how it's affecting them, even through a couple sentences, maybe a page of writing. And this short story that I was talking about is only 2 pages long, but it's revealing a lot about the narrator, their unwinding life, and maybe how something else is affecting them in the background that isn't really being talked about. So I do have to give Davis credit for managing to reveal a lot and managing to make a high quality writing in such a short amount of time, using the pages that you have available to you. Anyway, those are my thoughts on The Caterpillar by Lydia Davis. A pretty good short story, definitely one that I think is worth seeking out. I managed to find this at my local library. Don't forget to patronize your local library. They might have pretty stellar short story collections, as I've demonstrated time and time again. But you could also go out and buy this, maybe experience some more of Lydia Davis's work out there. It definitely couldn't hurt. I will be trying to seek out more of her work in the future, most likely. I'm sure my library has more Lydia Davis lying around that would be good for checking out again. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on this review, something to say about Lydia Davis or whatnot, let me know in the comments below. Would love to have a discussion with you on this. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this short story or this author or this collection if they don't already know. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and bug-moving travels. Farewell.